Hello, it's Dave from Stretty News TV, and this is our preview for the second leg against Olympiacos in the last 16 of the Champions League. United are obviously going into this game with a 2-0 deficit. So for the panel today, we're going to look at Jonathan's views, Serge's views, and Ian's views. So how are you, Jonathan, going into this game?
Sorry, Dale, did you say how am I feeling going into the game?
Yeah.
Well, obviously not on the back of Sunday, not in the most confident of moods, but it wasn't the ideal preparation. But I've watched Moyes' press conference, and he's assured us that he's told the lads on Monday morning to put it behind them. It's a fresh start this week, and all that matters now is the Olympiacos game, and he's right. So, who knows? Who knows? It's I can see us getting a couple of goals. I can also see us conceding, unfortunately, but you never know.
That is the issue, isn't it? We're going to this game. We need 2 goals at least. We need 3. But with United this season, we could easily get that, but it's them scoring the away goal, which I can't see us preventing. Ian, your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I did the previews with Full-Time Devils, and I was proper against everyone else's views on it. So, I don't know. It's a strange one. I think if United actually get a goal in the first 10-20 minutes, then it could actually set up to be quite an interesting night. And if the Old Trafford faithful get behind them like they did for the last 10 minutes, the Liverpool match, then that could really bring home a result. I said 4-0 on their channel, and maybe it was a bit OTT at the time. Maybe I was a bit too optimistic, and I was trying to just outdo everyone. But I think we can overturn this tie still.
Serge, as Ian's touched on, the fans have been a 12 man this season. The atmosphere in Old Trafford this season, we've discussed singing section and so on channel, but even without it, the atmosphere has been so much better at Old Trafford in some of the smaller games as well as the bigger games. Do you see that on a night like this in European football? We can go back to the Cup Winners' Cup against Barcelona nearly 30 years ago, and memorable nights like that. Can you see something similar against Olympiacos?
I mean, you got to look at the fact that I think a lot of the fans who kind of come to United for the glory, should we say, are not coming as much, and they're being replaced with the fans who actually are Man United fans and live in Manchester or come to the game all the time and are going to sing and are going to get behind the team. I mean, obviously United has become very corporate over the past few years, I would say. So having the people coming back who are actually big United fans and are willing to pay the money to go and support the team, it's nice to see fans getting behind the team, and it's been so noticeable this season. Well done Boyley for starting up and obviously Reclaim United and everybody else whoever's been behind the singing section. That's been really good and really helpful many times. I've been a bit surprised it wasn't implemented for this game.
But obviously, since as we are talking about European football, it's probably a further discussion we'll talk about in a few weeks' time. But just to get your thoughts on it, there's been a few murmurs about the Europa League that some fans are saying they won't renew their season ticket, and there's a few polls on several websites. Serge, if there's no Champions League next season, will you give second thoughts about renewing your season ticket, or will you be there regardless?
I mean, for me, if I'm honest with you, I don't even think we need Europa League. I think Johnny would back me up on this. I mean, we don't need it as a distraction next year. I think we've got to concentrate on the league next year. That's got to be our priority. When maybe Moyes or whoever else utilises the team that we have next year, and that's got to be our primary goal is Premier League, and then after that, obviously it'll be back to Champions League football. I mean, we shouldn't even consider ourselves for Europa League. I don't think any United fan would hand on heart say, "Oh yeah, I want to be in the Europa League this year." I mean, yeah, we might bring in a bit of money, but United aren't stupid. They've signed up the sponsorships for God knows however many years, so they're going to be earning a lot of money each year, and they've done it in such a way. I know from a few people involved that they do it in such a way that they actually earn more money off the sponsorships each year, irrelevant of where they are in the league, so to speak.
So, Jonathan, you mentioned I've never overturned a 2-goal deficit in the Champions League knockout stages. Will they do it against Olympiacos?
Yeah, it's kind of it's one of those misleading questions, isn't it? Because we kind of deem Olympiacos to be one of the kind of lesser sides in the Champions League, but as we saw a few weeks ago, given United's current form, I don't want to sound too pessimistic, but and the fact that they are by far and away the best team in Greece, albeit a much weaker league, but they're a team that are accustomed to winning, and they showed that against us. Once they got the first goal, we never really looked like getting back into it, and I think that's important. And they do have a few really talented players, a few dangermen, who came to the fore in the first game as well. So I don't know. I'm not building my hopes up, to be honest, because I don't want to feel dejected tomorrow night. But I always go into United games with hope. There's always a chance.
But even at that, and we're talking confidence, obviously last weekend, or just a Sunday gone, we took a bit of a hammer into Liverpool, whereas on the other end, you had Olympiacos, and they won their domestic title by an 18-point margin. Right? That's quite. I know we spoke about the league not being as competitive or up to the standard, but they were the first Greek opposition to beat Manchester United, and that was in the previous leg. And as you mentioned, they have some danger men. They have some players returned from injury, I believe, too, and they still have key players out. You can talk about Saviola, who's doubtful. He's not definitely ruled out, but he's doubtful for this fixture. Ian, I know we've kind of brushed on it with Jonathan about scoring the goals and trying to prevent them from getting an away goal. What's your back four tomorrow night?
The back four, it's got to be Raphael. It's going to be Vidic and Jones because of the availability of not having Smalling. I don't think Rio's going to be any good against the likes of their strikers. They were devastating at times in the first leg. So that's my back four. Apart from obviously every left back.
I think we're all going to go through the teams now, but we all have De Gea, I'm sure. Anyone know of De Gea? We all have De Gea. So what's your midfield, Dean?
My midfield, I've gone to 4-4-2 damage. We've got to put Carrick in and hold some sort of defensive line. Mata with Welbeck and really not Mata. Kagwa, the same person.
Ruled out for Champions League.
Yeah. I'm doing a Johnny Booth.
Amateur.
Yeah. Kagwa, same players, just in his right position nearly. And then out wide, I'm going with Valencia and Nani.
So even on Kagawa, because Moyes has said he will feature, and he said recently he's going to.
I think he should start. I don't see this thing about him featuring. He should start. He's a creative player. He brings a lot more to his game. It's strange. He was brought on against the Olympiacos, and we've said this in the past. Actually, there's a video that shows what if you've actually used him correctly, he would have brought into the United side. And if Moyes has actually picked up on that video, or someone at United's picked up on that video, then they should actually realise that he creates space, he creates opportunities, especially going forward. So why not?
But even at that, when we gave a review to the Olympiacos game, I think we all said that we would have started Kagawa. So we all kind of share that view. It'd be interesting if the lads have selected midfield. Up front, who have you gone for?
I've gone with Rooney and Welbeck.
Rooney, Welbeck. Why Welbeck, not Van Persie?
Van Persie's, as I was actually trying to state that he actually didn't play too badly considering the previous games on Sunday. But you've got to fire someone new in there. You've got to try and give someone a kick up the backside and go, this is your opportunity to shine. Welbeck has been on form, and if you put him in that position, right at the top where he likes to play,
goals.
He can score goals. For the same sort of speed, you could actually put Chicharito on the bench, and if he doesn't work out, bring on Chicharito and go for the same tactics.
Chicharito.
Chicharito.
Serge, you're starting 11 for Olympiacos.
David De Gea in goal, Big Dave. And then to the right, we have Rafa da Silva, the ever enthusiastic Rafa da Silva, paired by Jones and Vidic and flanked by no other than Patrice Evra. In midfield, we've got Tony, turn-back Tony on the right. And then in midfield, in the centre, we've got, bring him out of the old age home, Ryan Giggs next to Carrick. And then left, I'm putting Danny Welbeck. Up top, I'm putting Kagawa and Dwayne Rooney.
Would you not put... I know people spoke about this season, people disagree with playing Kagawa on the left, but would you not rather see Welbeck in a position where you're going to put Kagawa behind the main striker, or even have Welbeck as the main striker and Rooney as the shadow?
To be honest, I like seeing Kagawa behind Rooney. I think it worked when we played against Leverkusen. So, I'd rather do that and then put Welbeck on the left, if I'm honest with you.
I can see Ian grin, dirty mind. Let's get your starting 11, John.
Okay, so obviously David De Gea, Raphael right back, Vidic, Jones centre backs, and Evra at left back. And then I think I'm going to go for a 4-3-1-2. So the three in midfield, I would say Carrick in the middle, Valencia on the right, and either Januzaj or Nani on the left. And then I'd play Kagawa just ahead of them, and then I'd go for it and put Rooney and Welbeck both up front.
It's interesting because I haven't picked Januzaj and either of the other two. And given this season and the influence he's had on the team, being such a young age even, and the important goals and assists and so on, it is surprising that since Matt has arrival, that even on the previews we've done, we haven't really been calling for Januzaj to be starting as often as we would have been before Christmas. I know we didn't have a channel back then, we weren't doing these kind of previews and whatnot, but we would have been calling for his name a lot more than what we are now. Do you think are we wary of not burning a young player out, or are we kind of thinking that...
Yeah, but I just think it's got to a stage of the season now, and it's such a big game, that we need at least one creative wide player, which is why I'm kind of reluctant to play, the kind of, if you are going to go with a 4-4-2 or with a formation that has two men that are pushing wide, I struggle to put Valencia and Young there, because they're both very similar and I don't think they have much creativity. So I'll definitely have to... obviously Nani's coming back from injury, so the question's over his fitness. So I'd have to play either Nani or Januzaj, and then Valencia, just to give Carrick a little bit of security defensively, because obviously it's a very attacking lineup. But, we do need to go for it whilst maintaining a little bit of caution. So, but yeah, no, I do take on board your point. We don't want to burn Januzaj out, but, it's kind of desperate times call for desperate measures, unfortunately.
Absolutely. My starting 11, I'm going for a 4-2-3-1 yet again. So we got David De Gea in goal, Raphael, Rio Ferdinand, Jonesy and Evra. The reason I put Rio Ferdinand is I can't see Vidic starting after the weekend at Liverpool. I know Rio had a horrific game against Olympiacos in the first leg, but you have to remember before that he put in one or two good performances as well. I think the usage of Ferdinand this season has been limited, but when you're playing Ferdinand and you're playing for run of games, that's when you see his weakness, and he's not able for that anymore. But if you play him every now and again, he has performed quite well in that regard. The two in front of the back four, same as always, Fellaini and Carrick. Then the three, I'm going to go for Valencia, simply because I don't think Nani's going to play. He's on return to full training this week and he's doubtful to start. Rooney in the centre with Kagawa out on the left, and up top you have Danny Welbeck, because Danny Welbeck on nights like this, we've seen the Bernabeu last year, he's always up for it, he's always up for big occasions, and he runs around, he works his socks off. And look at Van Persie play, he hasn't been doing that. So we need, as Jonathan said, we need to be raring to go, we need to go out and attack, we need to score goals tomorrow night. And I think hopefully if Fellaini and Carrick play a good shift in front of the defence, they can keep it quite solid back there. So lads, match prediction, score lines. Ian, go for it.
I'm going to go down on my full-time Devils prediction. I'm going to get 3.
3-0.
3-0.
John?
Unfortunately, I think it's going to be 3-1, and we are going to go out on the away goal.
Serge?
6-0. No, I'm
Really?
joking. No, of course not really. I mean, I can see Ian about to spit out his Becks. No, I think, unfortunately, it's going to be... actually, I think it might be 2-0, and it might go to extra time. And then, if it goes to extra time, I think we might get a winner. I think it might be 3-0 Man United.
Right. My prediction's a 2-2 draw. Don't think we're going to qualify for the next round. I think it's disappointment to disappointment. I don't think we're going to keep a clean sheet. I think we'd be lucky to score 2 goals. And perhaps, given some performance this season, lucky to concede just 2.
So you're being positive, yeah?
As ever. No, it's this season, Serge, and it's hard. I want to be totally positive, but it's not easy to be positive, and I'm trying to keep a realistic view on it, because we could all talk 5-0, and we could forget about our predictions, but we should try and be spot on. I'm not ruling out your predictions. You could be definitely spot on. We had Robert Moore on giving a preview a few weeks ago, and he said we beat West Brom 3-0. He was spot on. I wouldn't have said that. So we've got else to discuss before we wrap up the preview, lads. And you want to input?
Yeah, no, I suppose now you mentioned it, I'm sort of having second thoughts about the whole Vidic thing, because he did have an absolute stinker on Sunday. And I know that Rio played poorly, but as long as you're not playing, because obviously when Rio was playing alongside Vidic, and we're all reluctant to play the 2 sort of older statesmen at centre back. So that possibly didn't help his mindset. But yeah, possibly, interchangeably you could put Rio in there instead of Vidic. I'm not averse to that idea at all. But I think who do you think we've got to look out for specifically from them? That Campbell bloke looked
Campbell on loan from Arsenal, very good on the wing. I thought he definitely troubled Evra. A lot of wingers have done that, and that's why I said at the Liverpool preview that it wouldn't be such a bad idea starting Ashley Young for backup. And I don't think have any of us said Ashley Young.
No. Originally I was going to put him in, but then I thought again. But just talking on Campbell, Johnny, was it you that told me he's Kevin Campbell's brother?
No, I said it was his cousin.
Right. Well, actually, I was most impressed with one of the midfield players. I can't properly pronounce it, but Dominguez. I think he actually got man in the match that night, and he was very creative, and he's some true balls, and he was very involved.
Absolutely. He did that ridiculous run, didn't he? I think in the first half, where he carried the ball from inside their own half. I think he carried it about 50 yards, and thankfully there was that last-ditch tackle from Vidic, who did have a good game that night, kind of compensated for Rio's poor performance. But yeah, he did look a real threat the whole night, really, until he got taken off. So yeah, that's what's troubling me a little bit. We could go and score the 3 goals, but I do fear at some point that one of their danger men, especially with our defending at the moment, could create something. That's the danger. And I agree. I must say I agree. It's not about not being positive, Serge. I think, like I said before, I think we've just got to be a bit realistic at the moment anyway, because I don't want to feel dejected having built myself up tomorrow night. If we win, immense, the amazing bonus. But
just to give a few stats on, say, the last meeting between Olympiacos and United, obviously we were disappointed again with the result, but the stats aren't too bad. Our pass success rate was better than theirs with 83%, whereas theirs was 75%. So we can go into those nitty-gritty and try and be positive for tomorrow night. Possession, we had 61%.
Was that in the pre-match warm-up though? Hell,
with the bibs and the cones. No, so look, we can try and be positive. We can try and nail out the pointless stats when the result was actually 2-0 to them. So that's it for the preview from Stretty News TV. Come on, you Reds, and hopefully we get through.